Hello, welcome to Wyvern Minis. Today I'm going to be unboxing these two expansions for Heroquest, Prophecy of Telor and Spirit Queen's Torment. First thing, I think the boxes look great. I really like the artwork. There's this iridescence on the front of it, which makes it all shiny, and yeah, shiny things are exciting. So, very nice. These are two smaller expansion packs compared to the previous ones I looked at in my last expansion video. They don't have any extra tiles or anything, but they've got some alternative sculpts of the minis in here, as you can see. They both come with sets of dice, which is always nice, and they've both got extra heroes in. So this is the Bard. He's actually an orc, which is interesting, and it's a really nice little sculpt actually. The plastic is really hard. It's a little bit shiny, as you can see there, shinier than in the other one. And if you look at the minis for the monsters, you've got these alternative sculpts of the Abomination and the Dread Knight shown there, or Dread Warrior, sorry. And it's this kind of greeny, translucent plastic, which is generally harder. I mean, a bit of flexibility in the sword there, but generally it's much harder and crisper kind of detail on the plastic. Very good quality. As far as I can tell from reading through the book, there is no reason within the game for these miniatures to have a different colour plastic. They're not, as far as I can tell, they're not ghostly miniatures or anything, despite the kind of ghosts shown on the front of the book. I think it's just they are alternatives you can use. I mean, perhaps the Spirit Queen has got spirits there, but there's no difference in the game for using spirit monsters, as far as I can tell. I think that perhaps they could do with a little bit of paint on them to bring out the details, and I've seen some people do interesting things with that, but then, you know, to be able to paint it without losing the translucent effect would be a bit of a challenge. But yeah, really nice little expansion. That I think is the models are great, extra dice are great, and the quests look very interesting. And moving on to the Prophecy of Telor, however you want to say it. Same sort of thing here, except this time all the miniatures are kind of orangey, fiery colour. You can see there's some fiery monsters on the front of the box there. But yeah, again, it doesn't seem like that has any effect in the game. It seems like it's just a kind of nice alternative miniature to have. So yeah, more dice, which is great, and another new character, which is the Warlock, which appears to be a small sort of halfling woman. She can turn into a demon, which looks remarkably like a gargoyle, but she can go into a demon form and then back again. I think it's very interesting adding in new characters. I mean, always with expansions, I think there's always a desire when you're playing a game like this to want it to be more complicated and more interesting, and to have more options, but then sometimes it can go a bit too far. I saw that with Zombicide. You know, Zombicide is a real nice simple game, and you go, oh, I wish there was more characters and more of this and more of that, and then when you add them in, you kind of go, oh, I don't need that actually. It was fun just to have a couple of beers and kill some zombies. So I'm curious how these characters are going to work, and I'm very curious how they're going to balance if you use them in the earlier quests. I've heard differing things online about how they will work, so I've not had a go of them yet, but I will do soon, because it's certainly they look interesting. You've got more spells here with the Warlock, and the Bard has got some interesting abilities. So yeah, pretty cool. The quest line in that book really sounds interesting. But practically one of the best things about having these expansions is the addition of new dice. It really makes a big difference to playing the game, I think, because when you've got the base game, you've got your 2 red dice for movement, and you've got your 6 white dice for attacking and defending. And the problem there is you've got 6 dice that you have to share between the characters and with Zargon, so you roll them for attack and defense. Frozen Horror, as I unboxed before, has an extra couple of movement dice and these lovely blue dice. So that at least means that the characters could have one set of dice and Zargon could have another set of dice, which is really helpful. But having these more expansions with more coloured dice mean that you've almost got enough for each player character to have their own set of dice, as well as Zargon having a set of dice, which I was playing it the other day, and it's quite nice having your own dice sitting in front of you. It feels much more like playing D&D or something, where you have your special dice because they're the lucky ones, and you just have to watch out for little ones nicking them all, because she likes rolling all the dice. And as I say, as well as having the new dice, you've got the nice new miniatures in there. All the expansions I've found so far seem to have higher quality miniatures than the ones that came in the original box. And I was told, somebody made a comment on one of my previous videos, that apparently there is a newer version of the core box. And you can see on the expansions here, the Avalon Hill logo is actually different, which is something I didn't initially notice. So I guess that my old box is old and the newer boxes use better plastic. I was very tempted to buy another copy of it because it was cheap on Amazon, but instead I was playing with a couple of mates the other day, and I used his set. He took my recommendation to buy it on Amazon because it was 50 quid, which I think is an absolute bargain. It's gone up a little bit now, but it was on special. So I introduced a couple of mates to the game. They each took 2 heroes a piece, used my painted orcs and goblins and my 3D printed walls, which worked really well in the game. They were spot on. And yeah, introduced the 2 guys to the game, and it was a lot of fun. They really enjoyed learning how to play the game very simply. Even when one of them kept rolling 1s for his potion of healing, he was absolutely destroyed, which was, let's be honest, it was funny. It was one of those things. At the end of the game, they ended up fighting the gargoyle, and 2 of their heroes got killed, but they managed to win and they escaped. So it was good. So that was a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in a how to play sort of video. I was thinking about maybe just making my own very simple scenario so there's no spoilers, and just doing a little how to play video. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and I'll certainly do that. So the morning after we played the game, I decided to do a little comparison of the 2 boxes, just because I did want to see what the difference was, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that the Amazon one did have the new logo. It was the new box. I thought maybe the 50 quid bargain basement price was to get rid of old stock, but it wasn't. Excuse the shaky camera, I didn't have my tripod or anything, or lights or whatever, just doing a very quick little comparison video. You can see that the boxes are different in height as well. I mean, my box has got the foam in it, which does raise it up quite a bit, so I had to take the foam out to do a proper comparison of the 2, which is a little bit challenging doing it one-handed. Probably should have put the camera down. But anyway, I've got Felder foam for a couple other games like this, and they do tend to make it so it makes the box stick up a little bit more, which is something to think about if you decide to get it. It's obviously not going to fit in the other box quite so well because it is quite thick, so I'm not sure how that'll work, but they do provide you with straps if you want them to keep it all together. But here, with the foam out and the box kind of as it was originally, it's still bigger than the newer one. There's the same amount of stuff in it, so I guess they just packed it in better or something. I don't really know. It's packed in the vacuum packed plasticky bits. I prefer the foam that I've got, but this is pretty good actually, for keeping the models all in there, and you can see when they're in the right place. And in terms of plastic, it's a bit dark there. That's better. Bit of light. You can see there's not really very much difference between the 2. I was sort of led to believe by comments from people that the reprinted box had much better plastic in the same vein as the expansions, but it seems to me like it's pretty much the same. It's hard to tell much difference. They're still quite bendy, maybe slightly less bendy in the reprint. It's really hard to tell. I mean, certainly the ones in my mate's box here, they're all straighter. All the swords are straighter to begin with, and the maces and all that kind of stuff. There's no problem with the female maces there, female orc maces there. You can see, and the Dread Warriors, they're all pretty nice and straight, unlike the ones that I got. So maybe it's a slightly better plastic, but really, I'm quite glad I didn't spend 50 quid buying a new box because it's basically the same. And anyway, I'm going to be finishing painting all my 3D printed miniatures, so it doesn't matter. So come back and watch the next video when we'll have some more printed miniatures for Heroquest. Cheers!